Usually, a lot of our dialogues are with clinicians, with psychologists,
Mm.
psychiatrists,
Mm.
even with alternative modality practitioners. And
Mm-hmm.
while those dialogues are extremely insightful, informative, and they hold a key place in our programming because they create a
Mm.
certain amount of psychological awareness, which is desperately required. I
Yeah.
think we can all agree that whenever we come across an individual who shares and is willing to generously open up and make us a part of their lived experience, those dialogues tend to be a lot more profound and significant in terms of touching a chord with us and really sort of demonstrating the importance of mental health and the sort of journeys that those individuals have had of a certain amount of distress and healing, more importantly. Today is one of those very special days because joining us is an individual who is, of course, an extremely talented, versatile artist. But from our perspective, she has very, very graciously agreed to share and let us have a peek into her own life and certain phases of it that have perhaps been distressing, and the ways in which she has come out and almost sort of reinvented herself, at least in terms of her mental makeup and psychological well being. Aarushi is someone who is a multidisciplinary artist. She's a designer. She has her own very sought after label. In fact, she's sitting at their flagship store. You
Mhm.
might see people behind her running across from her because they also have a lovely, lovely cafe that runs along with their store. And it's really a privilege to have her on. So let me then, without further ado, welcome her and thank her for making the time.
Hi.
So, Arushi, before we get into the
Yes.
nitty-gritty of things,
Sure.
I would love for you to show off a little bit. Tell our audience what you're up to nowadays.
Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, I'm at my store
Hmm.
and the cafe. I'll give you a little sneak peek.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
beautiful.
beautiful, peaceful place to have a coffee and work out of while admiring the designs, art, and sculptures we do,
Mhm.
products. So yeah, it's at Hotel Narayan Nivas Palace.
Wonderful. Now,
Yeah.
Arushi, there is this perception, बहुत लोग ऐसा सोचते हैं,
Mm-hmm.
particularly I think when we look at people we consider successful, people who come across as reasonably confident, the assumption made is that, oh my God, this person must be having everything completely figured out and sorted out.
Yeah.
That is seldom the case because even behind those very, very veneered exteriors, and I'm not calling them facades because nobody's trying to
Mm-hmm.
put up a show, but
Sure.
all of us human beings, I think, endure some kind, degree, and type of distress. And we all have quote unquote shit going on in our lives that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's because we are able to manage it and carry on with life and do certain things that we are expected to do doesn't mean that everything behind the scenes is okay. And
Yeah.
so it becomes, I think, even more important for those kinds of individuals to share that all is not well. And I
Yeah.
think I can safely say you will take it in the correct perspective that both somebody like you, somebody like me would be unfortunately part of that set who may be perceived as, oh my God, things look pretty peachy and rosy. But
Yeah.
I would love for you to begin by telling us a little bit about maybe some specific points of your life where your mental strength and resolve were really tested?
Yeah, yeah. So I would like to maybe put this in like three phases of my life, so that it's easy to understand
Sure.
for you, for everyone, and easy to for me to articulate also. So yeah, people often assume that, when you seem put together on the outside, that inner would also be equally seamless. And I've learned through this perception that it's always almost untrue for me or for anyone, I would say, because there has been these phases which have challenged me profoundly, like emotionally, mentally, or physically. So I would like to start with the business side of it, because I have a 12-year-old brand now, Casa. And when we started earlier, like one of the earlier stages, I would say the immense pressure somehow for a creative individual is to prove themselves, right? Is to stand out somehow. And, go through this creative block also, creative fatigue also, and still, sustain and stand out. So this fear of not being enough do crop in, somehow. It's very common amongst everyone who goes through this. So I would say it's kind of internally suffocating in a way. But yeah, it has taught me that success doesn't immune anyone from self-doubt. So I would put it like that. Yeah. And if I have to talk about another phase of my life,
So very quickly,
yeah,
I know I'm
yeah,
interrupting you.
no
Let's
problem.
talk a little bit about that business
Yeah,
phase. And you mentioned such an important thing that,
yeah,
particularly when one is going it alone and one is
yeah,
going into an entrepreneurial space, naturally, I think the pressures are very different. And they're a lot more because the stakes are higher.
yeah,
It's as simple as that. I think if I were to draw an analogy, perhaps it's like a arranged marriage versus a love marriage, where if
yeah,
you have the safety blanket of being with somebody your family has chosen, then
yeah,
things can be managed. So
yeah.
at these points where you feel perhaps inadequate or insecure, or you're trying to get that next design or collection out and it's just not coming together, what did you find yourself doing in terms of, was there a person or a practice, or what basically was your respite or place of solace where you went and found that peace and sanity and were able to carry on?
Yeah, so for me, especially, it has always been my art practice. My background is in fine arts. I'm a painter. I still paint with my brand. And going back to, painting has always helped me, be it sketching, designing, playing with materials, doing mixed media, exploring. That kinds of grounds me in a way, and makes me remember who I am underneath of all of this. So it really centers me. So this would be my, yeah, go
So,
to each time.
if I was to ask you very bluntly that, let's
Sure.
say, एक दिन you have a terrible day at the office,
Yeah.
so उस दिन typically you would go back and sort of, immerse yourself in painting back at home, or या कैसे होता था या होता है
Yeah.
typically?
For me, it's always like I would try to go to the designing part of it, be it, designing products for my brand or painting or sketching. So yeah, I do find solace in that. I would always turn to that apart from all these administrative and financial responsibilities and everything that one has to handle, because we are a very slow brand. We do
Mm.
things very sustainably. So the kind of pressures are different because
Yeah.
we have to deal ourselves with everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, returning to my art practice has always helped me.
Wonderful. You were
Yeah.
going to then, okay, so we've sort of talked about the business aspect. What is
Yeah.
part two then, or phase two?
Yeah, so one of the challenges I think I've faced, of course, like I would like to add to this because we are a 12-year-old brand now. We have seen it all, and
Hmm.
sustaining has been the key. Like
Sure.
be it demonetization, be it GST, be it, um, a lot of changes. COVID, we have been hit by COVID
Hmm.
also, and
Hmm.
we have seen all of these challenges also. So I would like to add that to the entrepreneurial
Certainly.
journey I've had. Yeah. And because Casa is not just like a business for me, it's my lifestyle. It's
Hmm.
the way, I live.
Hmm.
So, and it is built with my partner. I have a partner in a business. And I would say when this personal relationship kind of shifted to only the professional one for me, that overlap kind of created a complexity for me that I had to learn to balance, myself with a lot of internal work because that relationship changed for us. So it's only business now for us and not a personal relationship. That was one of the challenges I would like
I
to
hear
add
you.
here.
And
Yeah.
and and so did you yourself at that point, or would you now, with the benefit of hindsight, think that in that sort of very, very precarious and tricky situation, would it be wise to seek some kind of professional intervention and help?
I would like to say that I have done it. I have done it a few years ago. I went through that also. But somehow I do believe that can be a catalyst
Mm-hmm.
or that can be a support system which you can
Mm-hmm.
find
Mm-hmm.
in family members also.
Sure.
That somehow helps or it initiates the process of
Yeah. Yeah.
internal healing in a way, but it's ultimately it's you.
Of course. Of course. I
Yeah,
mean, it can be one of the elements of
yeah.
the mix.
Exactly. So the amount of work you personally have to put in rebuilding yourself, nothing compares that. And as soon as you understand that, I think things can get easier and you can move on and let go. Yeah.
Now, to me,
Simple
there's
rule.
a very, very significant added facet to this when it comes to anybody who's, let's say, a creative person or an
Yeah.
artistic person. I think
Right.
it's fair to say, and you'll agree, that as somebody deeply entrenched in the arts,
Yeah.
we tend to be the type of individuals who have a slightly heightened sense not just of aesthetics but also of the way in which we absorb emotion stimulus and things that are going on around us, and with that heightened sensitivity, it could also therefore mean that in these types of situations, perhaps we are slightly more distressed than the average person out there. I want to also understand from you, therefore, that again, I mean, I'm repeating my question. What
Yeah.
are some of those things? Because, there's a loss of objectivity that also happens when
Yeah.
जब आप दलदल में फंसते हो, you can't necessarily have that drone's macro view and look
Yeah.
down at your own situation.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that helped you navigate, recast your relationship in a
Yeah.
completely different light, reset boundaries, etc., etc.?
Yeah. So of course these periods are very testing because like we all know life isn't linear and I've gone through these phases which have really reshaped me both personally and professionally. And in those moments, what has helped me, again, I'll come back to first, I would say, is my art, like going back to creating anything, right? It has given me that sort of space where there's no judgment, and I don't have to explain myself to anyone, and I don't have to act like I have to hold everything together. Um, I can always reorganize, recollect my thoughts while doing it and reconnect with myself while doing it. Second, I was say like family plays a big role.
Hmm.
Some of the close friends, and
Yeah.
that small circle you have, that important circle, and
Sure.
conversations with them,
Hmm.
them checking on you, or you doing little things with them on an everyday basis. That can really be a good breather and a support system in a transitional phase like this, which can obviously make you feel less lonely, less burdened, and yeah. And so also, these simple practices like following a routine, that is also very helpful. So we should go back to, putting things in action and doing things and not overthinking. Because
Hmm.
as you said, as artists, as creative individuals, yes, I'm very more prone to all of this. And I do feel that I feel things more intensely than I have noticed in people around me. So once I've come to know that thing about myself, this really helps. Following little rituals, your daily rituals play a huge
But
part.
yeah, I mean, so what I'm hearing is actually
Yeah,
very, very practical. It may sound simple, but extremely
yeah,
practical and
yeah,
useful things, because
yeah,
having that support system, it doesn't have to be the entire world. It can be a few specific critical people. And
definitely.
yeah, this tendency to overthink and procrastinate is I think something that artists should copyright, because
Yeah,
we
yeah,
really need to cut those unending chai sutta breaks and just get on with it and
yeah.
do stuff. So I think
So
that's very,
true.
very important. Routine, discipline, etc., really
Yeah,
helps.
yeah,
So thank you for sharing all that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go to phase three then.
Hmm. Phase three further.
Phase three of, because you had said that you would like to divide sort of your life thus far from a mental health perspective
Yeah,
into
so
three
no,
phases.
actually, we talked about, like, I started with the phase, how it was at the start of the business, where,
Hmm.
you have to prove something to
Correct, correct,
yourself
correct.
and everyone. And then I talked about my personal life. And the third part is like the current situation,
Hmm.
which is, I would say, post-COVID majorly, because we had to learn how to, stand up again for ourselves, make
Hmm.
the brand happen, sustain
Hmm.
that period, and
Hmm.
still somehow come out of it, unaffected in a way, because a lot of people were dependent on us,
Hmm.
our
Of
team,
course,
our
absolutely.
employees. So professionally, in this sector, I'm working in so many verticals with so many artisans and, permanent people who work with me,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
team, that I had to take care of everyone in this
yeah,
period also. Of
yeah.
course, I had to, that's the harsh truth, but I had to lay down few people,
Sure,
and,
sure.
we have to go through all of that. But in my capacity, whatever I could manage and whatever I could help them with, I've done that. So, yeah, that was one of the very tricky periods, I would say, which we have left behind and come out of it gloriously. Yeah.
Uh, um, Again, because there is a established
Yeah.
tendency more seen in artists, creative individuals.
Yeah.
mm, all of these kinds of situations and curveballs that life throws at us
Yeah.
can very easily lead to us succumbing to things such as anxiety, depression, etc. Did
Yeah.
you experience any particularly in this zone low phases at all?
Oh, of course, of course. I have had panic attacks also. Anxiety has been a part of it for sure. Um, I wasn't diagnosed with any of this per se, but I have had a phase. I've had this period, and yeah, it's very challenging. It's definitely the times I don't want to, think about or
Of
remember
course,
now.
I completely
Yeah,
understand.
yeah,
But yeah, so that it is very much part and parcel of that whole
true.
um,
Journey.
journey that takes place.
Yeah.
I tend to ask my women guests this
Mm-hmm.
particularly
Mm-hmm.
because we do continue to live in
Mm-hmm.
such a biased society.
Yeah,
Uh, and particularly because you have been an entrepreneur as well.
yeah,
Uh, on account of being a woman and the gender that you are, from
Mm-hmm.
that particular perspective, over the past 10, 12 years, have there been any sort of experiences you've had which you feel were not great and you might not
Yeah.
have encountered if you were not a woman?
Definitely. Uh, One of the recurring experiences is this kind of pressure to constantly validate your capability.
Hmm.
You know, as a woman who's leading this art and design house, there have been so many moments where I have to prove my expertise more than my male counterparts, I would say. Because whether it's in production, whether it's with artisans, negotiations, making deals happen for your business, or creative discussions also, that that expectation. I mean, you can always feel that you have to earn your seat repeatedly, and it's kind of mentally exhausting. Yeah,
Absolutely, it is,
yeah,
and what that tends to do, at least for a lot of women, till a certain point in their lives,
yeah,
it makes them, in all kinds of not so nice ways, they are forced to overcompensate.
yeah,
They are forced to act and seem more quote unquote manly.
yeah.
Again, how did you navigate this? How did you sort of meet those expectations, let's say, or exceed them
Yeah.
even?
So, yeah, like you said, manly. And that's where the masculine energy would come out of us because we all have both of them, feminine and
Sure.
masculine. And sometimes when you're doing that and taking decisions, I wouldn't say harshly, but, maybe firmly.
Hmm.
Um, uh, this kinds of put you in a place where people would see you like, oh my God, she's rude, she's this, she's that. Okay, but you have to somehow find a balance between all of this. This is the only way to navigate through this because I understand it's kind of deeply rooted, in
Absolutely.
all of us, whether it's a female or a male, and we kind of have to find a balance at home, at work, between these periods and these stretches of time.
And
Um,
the sad truth is that there are double standards even in our perception, because a woman making
yeah,
certain firm decisions will
yeah,
earn her the tag of being ruthless and heartless, and the man
exactly.
making those same decisions will earn him the tag of, oh, so decisive.
Exactly, that's what I was talking
So,
about. I mean, look at this. Oh, it's kind of
um,
hypocrite of
absolutely,
humankind.
absolutely. No,
But
I,
yeah.
but
No,
it
but I
also,
have to add here,
yeah.
like my partner is very supportive. My partner in
Hmm,
business, Arpan, is
hmm,
very supportive, and
hmm,
I'm so lucky to have started this business with Arpan. And things become easier when there's this sort of male entity who's not coming from this place and
hmm,
understands how world functions and
hmm,
which departments he could handle and
hmm.
how I could divide my work with him.
Sure,
So that's of course makes it a lot easier. I don't want to
absolutely.
generalize all of this for
Of
sure.
course.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
But also that sort of leads me to my, as a perfect segue to my final question,
Yeah.
which is that now you've been on this journey yourself for over a
Yes.
decade.
Yeah.
Do you find any tangible change in the status of women in our country?
Yeah, I think it's shifted quite dramatically in the last
Mhm,
decade.
mhm, mhm,
Like, I have been an independent artist for 20 years now in art space, and out of those, 12 years have been CASA also.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I have seen a huge shift. I've witnessed a
mhm.
huge
And
shift,
and
like,
can you and can you share, sort of one
yeah.
example that will help us understand better?
Yeah, like for something as simple as women choosing their own careers, the
Hmm.
things they want to do, taking stands for the kind of relationships they want to have, or the kind of creative paths they want to follow, so what independence looks for them right now is very different how it used to be.
Hmm.
The kind of pressures our mothers or grandmothers or had to face, I guess women today have left no room for that. Uh, that has shifted for sure. Women taking up these leadership roles, running companies, studios, making decisions with with the kind of confidence required for them to be a part of, something huge, any agency, and it's visible. It's kind of visible. We don't we might have to constantly maybe justify some sort of psychological burden that comes with the deeply rooted things, and for a woman being ambitious, I would say here. But then again, it's a work in progress, I would
But
say.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I absolutely agree with you.
yeah,
I just wanted a confirmation from you, and I can now
yeah,
share that there has been a
yeah,
tectonic shift. At least those choices are
definitely,
being made now. They were never
definitely.
choices earlier.
Yeah,
And because those choices can be made now by young, empowered women,
yeah.
what are a few things that young women of today would be wise to keep in mind that might help them, navigate the pressures of what still remains largely a man's world?
Definitely. I'll like to leave our conversation with some important points which I kind of follow and
Mm-hmm.
I feel would help everyone. Create a stronger inner self. Get yourself together. Basically, find your center. It
Mm.
may be for me like it's through art, like I've mentioned
Sure.
earlier. Because it makes me intuitive, leaves me with no judgments, and it has helped me. It could be reading for someone, it could be meditation for someone else.
Yeah.
So having that space which is kind of fully yours
Hmm.
becomes a refuge
Hmm.
in these transitional periods and
Yeah.
such
Yeah.
situations. And building very important is building boundaries,
Hmm.
building emotional boundaries with guilt,
Hmm.
because as a female I've seen that in my own family also and people around me also. We tend to soften edges, like we
Hmm.
tend to put blames or shift things on ourselves,
Hmm.
मैंने ही
Hmm.
कुछ गलत किया होगा,
Hmm. Hmm.
being a female.
Yeah.
But we should know where to draw boundaries with
Hmm.
ourselves also, not
Hmm.
just with the people around us or the world around us.
Hmm. Hmm.
um, Gently but still firmly can be really life changing, I feel.
Hmm.
And then we should allow ourselves to evolve without fear also, since we have come a long way. And this is the least we could do for ourselves to outgrow, older versions of ourselves. And like I said earlier, also have this small close circle of, people around you who are not just noise, I would say,
Hmm. Hmm.
but, an actual support system. And their presence really uplifts you, helps you grow.
Hmm.
So yeah, these are the
Wonderful. I mean,
yeah,
again, extremely,
yeah,
extremely important points. And I think to your last point, I will
yeah,
definitely add that
yeah,
one extreme of that, of course, is to have just quantity versus quality. So you must seek quality. And
right,
so what tends to happen at a certain point when one has met with a degree of success in life,
yeah,
one also tends to court people who just become yes men. So you
yeah,
want to guard against that as well,
of
because then
course.
they will never be able to show you that authentic true mirror.
True.
Hmm.
That is very true. That is very true. And again, I would add to this that there has to be a balance of, of course, these people, this close-knit circle is your support system, but you cannot only rely on that. The amount of inner work one has to do to be, centered and, um, not leave your ground. uh, we all have to put in a lot of work into ourselves in healing, and we will always be a work in progress, I would say. Um, we have to find that balance between the soft and strong side of us, maybe female and masculine side of me, the energies. It's always a work in progress. And
Well,
maybe,
you
yeah,
put it so
yeah,
poetically, actually,
yeah,
balance between soft and strong.
yeah,
I'm very, very happy and proud to see where you have
yeah,
journeyed to,
yeah.
and we wish you all the best. And
Resilient.
on a slightly lighter
Yeah,
note, I'm also
yeah,
very chuffed about the fact that I titled the session A Fine Art of Balance, because that's
yeah,
really the concluding thought of
yeah.
our interaction. It is indeed
Definitely,
a fine art
definitely.
of balance, life, mental health, and all of it.
Yeah.
So, all the best, Arushi. Thank you very
Thank
much for
you.
your
Thank you
time.
so
Lots of
much.
success,
It
and
was
we'll see you
great.
soon.
It was lovely talking to you.
Likewise.